Hello, everyone. My name is Symone Jackson. Welcome to Alternative Fashion Media Podcast Show. As per norm, we have a great and special guest for you today. Her name is Anna. Her website is In My Mango Tree, and she's from Sweden. And has been a biologist for about 30 years. 20 years of that has been a project manager in various fields and places. From Sweden, she started import and sale of African crafts and designs in 2015. She also offers environmental and ecology consultant services. Hello, Anna.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. How are you?
I'm fine this
I'm
evening.
fine this evening. That's good. That's good. So, if it's all right with you, I'm going to fire off the questions. We're really excited to have you on here. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for letting me on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, you started your new business in my mango tree in 2015. You work with products made from Sweden and Africa. Can you give us a take on how both these countries influence your business and how you promote cultural awareness?
Okay. Well, basically all my products are made in Africa. The few that are made in Sweden are just there to promote Africa, really. So my job is to sell Africa and to translate the African culture and design into Swedish culture and design, I suppose, and to make my African suppliers understand what the Swedish customers would like, and the Swedish customers to appreciate what they can get out of Africa, and that it may not always be what they expect, but it's almost always something better. So I suppose I try to be a link between the different cultures.
That's pretty exciting. I went onto your website and I've seen the different jewelry and textiles and stuff from Africa or from the prints that you made yourself, and I think they're very beautiful. And I, for one, think it's great that you can go to Africa and get some of their important goods and sell it in your own backyard. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting. I agree. It's not always easy, but it's exciting.
I bet. I bet. We particularly like your fashion and decor textile prints, as I mentioned, and your jewelry and fashion accessories that you carry. We see that they are made in natural fibers and sustainable and ecological materials. Can you tell us any of the traditional methods or process behind the creations of the products you sell?
Okay, yeah, I think all of my producers are very skilled when it comes to incorporating traditional methods and make them with a modern twist. And they very often they use very old craft techniques. They may be centuries old or even many thousand years old, but they would still stand out in a contemporary fashion show. They look very modern. And for example, I import some jewelry from Namibia, which is made from ostrich eggshell. And for anyone who's familiar with the ostrich eggshell would know that it's really rock hard. And it takes a lot of skill to make jewelry and beads out of the eggshell. And but the Namibian people have been making this for, like I said, thousands of years, but they still create this amazing jewelry, which looks very modern indeed. And I also have a lot of products with embroideries, and the embroideries look a bit like old rock carvings or rock paintings. They look very old, but still they picture everyday living today, what these women are experiencing in their everyday life today. So it's, I think they manage to do that. They use the traditional craft techniques, but they take it into today or into modern times and make it very fashionable and very exclusive.
See, it's always been kind of like a dream of mine to see African jewelry being made. So the fact that you actually get a little insight, a little inkling of how it's done, I gotta say I'm a little jealous because I love African jewelry, and always wanted to see it being made. So that's got to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, yes, it is. And I mean, it's not. Maybe we imagine that everything is. If you go into an African village, that it will be like Stone Age. But of course, the tools are perhaps a bit more modern, but the craft itself is very old, and they make that link. And yeah, it's very exciting. It's really exciting. I admire them a lot. I don't know how I couldn't do it myself, but
Oh, I bet neither could I, so it's okay. But we can admire from afar, right?
yeah.
Absolutely. So your important products created by your partners. Can you give us a brief introduction how you work closely with World Trade Organization certifications? And if they're not, what kind of specifications do you acquire to sell in My Mango Tree?
Yeah, okay. Most of my producers, they are certified and members of the World Trade Organization. So it's fair trade already. I have a few suppliers that are not certified as such, but so what I do with them is that I still apply the 10 principles of fair trade. I use them as a checklist when I buy from them. So I wouldn't sell their products if I wasn't sure that they could be certified. But I know that it's a long process to get the certificate and a lot of documentation. So I don't want to exclude them if they're not certified. But I'm sure they will get there. But so I suppose my customers, they will just have to trust me. If they want to be sure that it's fair trade, they can buy the fair trade products, and otherwise they just have to, trust in me, I suppose.
Well, I would say I would be more than happy to trust you in that type of decision, Anna. Like I said, I've seen the stuff that you imported. I've seen, like I check out your website, so I definitely would trust you, no question.
Oh, thank you.
You're absolutely welcome. So, can you tell us a few products that you sell and what their ecological, cultural, and social responsible attributes of these products?
Yeah, well, apart from the things that I was talking about before, a lot of my producers, they will also use like waste material. They will reuse and redesign what we call waste material. For example, I sell jewelry, which is made out of Scooby wire. I sell metal art, which is made from tin cans or metal scrap, and I sell bangles which are made out of PVC, like old pipelines. And by using this waste products, I mean, it's environmentally responsible to do that, especially in a community where perhaps the waste management it's difficult or it's not there. And it's also within our culture, even here in Sweden, and I believe in the US as well, just a few generations ago, I mean, it was in our culture as well to make use of everything and not to throw away. And they are doing it, they are making it modern again. So I think it's really a culture that is rooted in tradition. And these women, they are also, when it comes to the social aspect, they are really taking control of their own lives, and they are influencing their communities in a positive way, and they are becoming financially independent. So I mean, they just bring everything good together.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. I'm glad that your products are not only cultural and eco- ecological
yeah.
yes, of these products, but they're also giving a social responsibility, giving these women an opportunity, giving them independence and an education that I think is possibly one of the best. I love that. That is
It's all
empowering.
about sustainable development, and I suppose that's what we all want to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's great that you guys are doing that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So now you also work with beneficiaries organizations that support wildlife. Tell us a little bit about African Wildlife Foundation and why you chose to work with them.
Yeah, okay. Well, the African Wildlife Foundation, they've been around for a long time, and they do a lot of good work. They work with communities. You can't benefit wildlife if you don't work with the local communities. But really, the African Wildlife Foundation is just one example of many organizations that are working on the African continent with wildlife conservation. So I just chose them as one example because when I talk to people, I want to have one example of one organization. But I just want to say that the extinction of species of animal and plant species it's not just happening in Africa. It's going on where you live and where I live. So it's something that we have to work with everywhere. So we can't just point a finger towards Africa, but you can't work. For me to work in Africa and just work with people, it wouldn't work. I have to work with nature as well. We always have to do both.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. I 100% agree with that. We have, I feel like, for the wildlife organization, some people, there are some who definitely like to choose sides with helping the animals or helping with the humans. I'm glad that wildlife says, hey, can't have one without the other. We have to help both. We got to do both. We can't just make, one decision. We have to, all of us together, work together for wildlife.
Yeah.
And I truly love that.
Yeah, that's right.
So with your background in ecology and biology, how do you feel your background has influenced your business in my mango tree?
Well, it's a good question. I mean, I can't even imagine myself not being a biologist. I couldn't breathe without being a biologist. I've been a biologist all my life, I think. So I wouldn't know. But of course, yes, it has a very important influence. But I think, and I think also I probably have a very scientific approach to life. In general, but I suppose when it comes to my business, that I would probably be more interested or involved in the process, in the production, maybe not so much in the end product. And if I were to produce something myself, I would probably leave the end product, I mean the design of the product itself, to someone else, and I would get more involved in the background. I'm not a designer. I'm not a fashionist. It's obvious to everyone who knows me.
It's right. I mean, you do great work just by your biology and your imports, so it's okay. We'll leave the true fashion designers to the people who can draw and create. We'll leave that to them.
I think so.
Oh, that's funny. So I have to say, we like how you say that you want to contribute to the connection between people, countries, cultures, and also the connection between humans and nature. Can you emphasize from your expression what that means to your business?
Okay, yeah, well, it's a favorite topic of mine. When it comes to connecting people together, I always get the question, or people always say that it must be so very different to work in Africa, and that life in Africa is so different to living in Sweden. But I always say that I find it to be the opposite. I think that we are very similar. We have much more in common than separates us. And if I show you a man or a woman or a child in Sweden or in Africa, I mean, we are the same, and I think if we are the same, how can we then not work together and not understand each other? I mean, to me, it's I don't think we are very different. So the connection is there. It's just that we have to see it again. And when it comes to connecting humans back to nature, well, we have separated ourselves from nature, and we seem to think that we can do without nature, which of course we can't. I mean, nature could do very well without us. Nature would do better without us. But we seem to forget that nature is really holding us. And when it comes to, for example, the extinction of species, animals and plants that are disappearing from Earth before we even know them, well, on the just being selfish, think of all the chemical substances, the genetic codes, whatever, in these animals and plants that are disappearing that we may have some use for in the future, and we just let them disappear. So it's very important that we emphasize and that we always come back to this connection with nature and with each other. And I mean, this is nothing. I'm not original in any way. This is what everyone knows, but I think we just have to say it again and again.
I agree, and I do agree with you. I feel like humans are having a disconnection with nature because we're all technology obsessed. We got our iPhones and everything, that we're completely just forgetting that there is beauty outside of our iPhone, and that we're just completely ignoring it. And I do believe that we do need to get that connection back and rebuild that connection, so we don't say goodbye to all the beautiful stuff that's out there. Because I hate seeing trees being destroyed for like multi-dollar hotels. It breaks my heart. There's so many trees that and there's so many different hotels. I do believe that we are very disconnected when it comes to nature, and we need to remind ourselves we need nature. Nature does not need us.
Yeah, sadly, but I mean, yeah, it's good in a way. I think I find it reassuring in a way that nature can go on without us.
Me too, but yeah, me too. In a weird way, I have to agree with that. So, can you tell us, what are some of your goals or future projects for In My Mango Tree?
Well, to start with, I suppose I just want to get my business going in a healthy way. I mean, I've just started, but I would like to, being a biologist, I would very much like to work with green infrastructure. And I don't mean like water pipes. I mean the infrastructure within nature itself. Which often we have disconnected, the infrastructure that insects or plants are using to move or to communicate. I'd like to do that. And when it comes to fashion or design for In My Mango Tree, well, I would, in the distant future, maybe I would very much like to get into production myself, and maybe even produce a collection of my own, whether it be clothing or accessories, but just to put into practice everything that I learn and my knowledge, and to team up and to partner with the best people available, the good people, the generous people. I don't know, it would be fun. And to be involved from soil to sail, I suppose.
That would be so exciting if you create your own line. I would seriously love that. I mean, you have a website called In My Mango Tree, which is like one of the unique, most creative names I've heard for a website. I can imagine what your line would be called and what type of stuff you would have. I would love it. I would go seriously fan crazy for it.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Well, it's not there yet, but it's thank you. I need all the support. I need all the supporters. I need a fan club. So thank you.
Well, you got one right here. So where can we find your amazing work on the internet?
Well, I've had a website in Swedish for quite some time now, but I've actually just published an English version. So for you English-speaking people, you can find me on inmymangotree.com, and you will find all the details of how to get into contact with me on that website. And there's also a link to my web shop. It's just in Swedish, but you can still look at the pictures. And on my website, I always also have a link to a catalog with all the products, and that is in English. So you can have a look, and if there's anything that you're interested in, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And I would also like to recommend everyone to read a small booklet that I have put together about my partners and my beneficiaries in Africa and in Sweden, and just to get to know them and read about them. And you can open it from the website. So that would be great. And please, I'd love to hear from everyone.
Hey, Ro, did you hear that one, everybody? So check out Anna on her In My Mango Tree website. There are links to her catalog. There are her products. That's in English. The catalog's in English, but she's also got others like the jewelry that you guys can definitely look at. Take it from me. I checked it out. They're beautiful. The designs are beautiful, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge fan of Anna's In My Mango Tree website. So please check it out. Follow her, contact her. She's more than willing to talk to anybody and continue to get her business going. And we do appreciate you for being here today, Anna. I do love the talk. It was great. I really do appreciate you taking your time. I know it isn't easy learning Google Hangout, and you took time to learn it. I want to say I appreciate you for doing that.
Yeah, well, that might come in handy for me. I can make my own podcasts maybe in the future. Who knows?
Oh, dear.
Well, I'll ask you for expertise, but I also want to thank you very much for letting me come on to the alternative fashion media show. I'm very flattered to have been one of your guests. Really, I'm just nobody from Sweden. So thank you very much for having me. It was great, and you're very inspiring.
Oh, thank you. And I was gonna say, well, pretty soon with the podcast, you're not gonna be a nobody. You're gonna be somebody, and you're gonna have a lot of people checking out your website and jewelry line and jewelry. Yeah, I am very confident about that.
Yeah, well, I'm ready.
Great. So again, everyone, my name is Symone Jackson for Alternative Media Podcast Show. I want to thank Anna from My Mango Tree for being with us again today. Make sure you guys check her out on her website, catalog. Check out the booklet she's getting. She's about to be everywhere soon, so be prepared for that. Anna, that goes to you. Prepare to be everywhere.
That I will clone myself, perhaps.
That would be great. I want to thank you again for taking the time and joining us. We really do appreciate it. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. You guys have a great morning and evening to some of you.
Yeah.
And we'll be back again with another episode with another guest on the Alternative Media Fashion Show. Podcast Fashion Show. All right, everybody. My name is Symone, and I will see you guys later.